Time to tell some ghost stories. Welcome to Rotted Review of the Day. And today we're going to be taking a look at the 2017 movie Ghost Stories. As always, this is a spoiler-free review, and we will have a spoiler-filled deep dive discussion video accompanying this one. But if you haven't seen the movie, you're wondering whether or not you should, this video is safe. So let's just go ahead and tuck right in. As usual, we have 5 different categories, and each category is worth up to 20 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And let's just get right into it. This movie is sort of an anthology, sort of not. It is 3 separate stories being told with a central binding element. However, it doesn't follow a lot of traditional anthology horrors in that it winds up, without giving anything away, blending them together much more than separate story boundaries would ordinarily dictate. And usually, not always, but usually, anthology horror is done by each segment is a different writer, director, team, even down to cinematographers. And that's not the case with this one either. There were 2 directors and 2 writers, but they worked in a cohesive fashion throughout. The basic premise of this is a paranormal skeptic, specifically for psychics. He debunks them and so forth. And he got his start by idolizing a previous television debunker who had turned into a mystery unto his own right by disappearing, and that set him off on the path of I want to do that for a living, moving on, and going on that route with his life. And and again, I'm not really spoiling anything because this is all kind of setting up the plot. This all happens in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. He gets a letter from his former idol who had disappeared, asking to meet with him, and when he does, the person that he had this idealized mentorship with, he told him that the life's work that he had pursued in the past and that this main character is pursuing now in the present is a fool's errand, and the notion that everything is face value, everything has explanation, there is no paranormal, is false on its face, and presents him with 3 cases that he was never able to solve, saying, go out and, please prove me wrong, find an explanation. And that's what he sets out to do. He starts tackling these 3 cases, finding the 3 people involved with it and getting their stories, and going on the route of the movie that winds up taking him. Overall, I thought this was a fantastic movie. I really did. I just watched it about an hour ago, and the entire way through, I was trying to figure things out. And all I'll say is that I was way off base with every single theory I came up with throughout. A movie like this, I don't think it's necessarily a spoiler to say it has a twist. It has many twists. That's kind of the nature of it. It's a investigative mystery horror movie, and twists are kind of the name of the game with it. But I did not see any of it coming, and I loved it. Every time I thought I had it nailed down, it didn't just take a deviated turn. It cranked the wheel, hit the e-brake, made a J-turn, and it was amazing how rapidly it switched direction on me, and at no point did it feel disjointed. It felt It felt like I was along for a ride that I was blindfolded for. It was a little disarming, but it wasn't disjointed, and it made thorough sense all the way and at the end. And no, I really did love it. I thought it was spectacular, and the scares were genuinely good too. So, I mean, for that reason, I'm kind of going on a little bit long here. So we're going to just kind of start flying through some categories here. I do give the plot 15 points out of a possible 20. I thought it was very, very good. There were some elements of it that I thought probably could have been tidied up, but very, very good. The intent, I think this one, it just really did nail it. It was supposed to be scary. It was supposed to be suspense filled. It was supposed to be a character driven story, and it was. It was supposed to tackle themes of, disbelief and the nature of, belief itself, and how our past, can wind up haunting us. I mean, they're not terribly unique themes within a horror movie, but it set out to do them, and it did them extraordinarily well, even not being terribly unique. So good 14 points on that one. I thought it was really good. Acting. This is the part that I thought really kind of shone the most, and that's not just because I'm a Martin Freeman fan, which is one of the reasons I selected this movie. But I am a Martin Freeman fan, and he did a very good job with this. He's not the main character. But I gave it 17 points just because I thought everybody did a pretty fantastic job with it, especially the main character, who was played by Andy Nyman. Very good job all around. Solid performances from everybody there, from the main character right down to the smallest. So yeah. Without giving anything away, I will also tip my hat to the acting done within the second story being investigated. The effects were very, very good, and they didn't just serve for blood and guts, monster creation, that kind of thing. It served as an element to really mess with the audience's mind, and in that note, I thought it did a very good job. I gave that 17 points out of 20 as well. The effects lent itself to the story. It was perfect usage of tools in the toolbox, and super happy with the effects in the movie. They worked in terms of the scares and in the story, so awesome job there too. Fear quotient. This one gave me jumps, gave me startles, gave me goosebumps, and gave me suspense. I gave it 15 out of 20 for this. It was very, very good. I don't think it's going to be haunting me, tonight. But overall, while I was watching it, I thought it did a very good job of getting under my skin and getting some good scares in there. So, some quality jump scares, some quality suspenseful moments. If I had a critique on the fear quotient level, it would be that there were elements of the long drawn out suspense things that, if it were a musical number, it would almost seem a little repetitive by the time the third story came around. But overall, I thought very good. So that brings us to a total score of 78 possible points. 78 points out of 100 possible. 78 total points for Ghost Stories 2017 movie. And that's about it. I really, really want to get into the deep dive discussion on this one, because there were elements of it that I really want to talk about. I want to talk about the end. I want to talk about some of the subtext going on within it, and just how much it blew me away in ways that I can't cover in a spoiler-free review. So I invite you to absolutely watch this movie if you haven't seen it yet. You want a good scary movie, I really do recommend it. Watch the movie, watch Ghost Stories, then come back and watch the deep dive discussion video of Rotted. So that's it. Next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.